The world knows Chuck Norris as the symbol of invincibility, a six-time world karate champion, action film star, and a meme legend. But behind every punch, every meme, and every steely glare, there's a story of a man who overcame battles far greater than any on-screen fight. Before becoming the action icon we admire, Chuck Norris had to fight the inner demons of a violent childhood, personal loss, and crippling self-doubt. His journey to becoming a household name didn't begin with success. It started in a broken home in Oklahoma, where survival was the only goal. Chuck's father, Ray Norris, was a violent alcoholic who cast a dark shadow over the family. Chuck's earliest years were defined by fear, neglect, and emotional scars, which he carried with him for much of his life. A violent childhood. Battling inner demons. Born Carlos Ray Norris on March 10, 1940, in Ryan, Oklahoma. Chuck Norris grew up in a household plagued by violence. His father was a mechanic and a World War II veteran, but also a raging alcoholic who brought chaos and fear into the home. Chuck's memories of his father are marked by violence rather than affection. He later admitted, "My father never hugged me. He only hit me." This absence of love, combined with his father's brutal outbursts, left deep emotional scars on Chuck. Ray's unpredictable rages shattered furniture and doors, creating an atmosphere of terror. Chuck, along with his two younger brothers, learned to be invisible, shrinking into corners in hopes of avoiding their father's wrath. Those painful years in his childhood home would shape Chuck's future, planting the seeds of both his resilience and his insecurity. School. The Invisible Boy School was no refuge for Chuck. His shy, scrawny appearance and anxiety made him an easy target for the indifference of classmates and teachers alike. Chuck was overlooked, not bullied, but invisible. Just another ghost drifting through the halls. His worn-out clothes and the bruises he tried to hide were silent indicators of the pain he endured at home. He wasn't the subject of ridicule because of weakness. He simply didn't matter. This invisibility followed him through his school years, leaving him with feelings of worthlessness. He often flinched at loud voices, reflecting the trauma of his father's abuse. The lack of attention from peers, combined with the emotional neglect at home, created a boy who questioned his own value. Despite the apparent emptiness, Chuck's isolation set the stage for the eventual discovery of his true strength. Escape to the Air Force. A new beginning. By the time Chuck was 18, he had internalized a painful truth. He was not enough. His father's cruelty had ingrained this message deep in his soul. The only way to escape was to join the United States Air Force. Chuck later admitted, "I didn't join the military to serve my country. I joined to escape my father." His service took him to Osan Air Base in South Korea, but Chuck soon realized that escaping his past wasn't as simple as leaving home. In Korea, Chuck was stationed as a military policeman, and while the uniform gave him a sense of authority, he still felt the same crippling sense of self-doubt. The loneliness and isolation were suffocating. The old voices of shame and insecurity whispered in his mind, making him feel as invisible as he had in his childhood. Despite the distance from his father, the wounds he carried from his upbringing continued to follow him. A chance encounter. The path to martial arts. It was during this time of personal turmoil that Chuck stumbled upon a small martial arts school in Osan. Looking through the window, he saw men moving with precision and discipline, and for the first time, he saw strength that didn't come from anger. He was drawn to this calm power, and despite his fears and insecurities, he entered the dojang and began his martial arts journey. The instructor, a Korean master, saw potential in Chuck and taught him not only martial arts, but also life lessons. The master's belief in Chuck's potential began to shift his perception of himself. Martial arts taught Chuck that strength didn't come from rage, but from discipline. It was here that Chuck first understood that true power came from mastering oneself, not others. This lesson would shape his life and career forever. From martial arts to karate champion. By the time Chuck returned to the United States in 1962, he was no longer the scared boy who had fled his father's home. His journey in martial arts had given him more than confidence. It had given him a sense of purpose. However, the world Chuck returned to didn't yet recognize his talent. Karate was still relatively unknown in America, and Chuck found himself working dead-end jobs in Los Angeles. His early days as a martial arts instructor were marked by failure and doubt. His karate school in Torrance, California was nearly empty at first, and Chuck questioned whether he had made a mistake. But slowly, students began to trickle in. Word spread of his disciplined teaching and mastery of karate, and soon Chuck's school gained recognition. It was a humble beginning, but it set the stage for his rise as one of the greatest martial artists of his generation. A rising star, dominating the karate world. In 1967, Chuck Norris entered his first major karate tournament, the All-American Karate Championships. He didn't win through flashy showmanship, but through cold precision. This victory opened doors he hadn't imagined before. Between 1968 and 1974, Chuck dominated the competitive karate scene, capturing title after title, defeating legendary fighters and establishing an untouchable record of 183 wins and just 10 losses. Chuck's 6 world championships in middleweight karate solidified his status as a martial arts icon. But even at the peak of his career, Chuck's internal battles continued. His childhood scars, the trauma of his father's abuse, and the feelings of inadequacy never truly disappeared. They were buried deep, but they shaped every victory, every fight, and every moment of his success. The cost of success: battling inner demons. Despite the external triumphs, Chuck Norris's greatest battles were always internal. His success in karate and Hollywood did not erase the emotional scars left by his abusive father. The weight of those experiences continued to affect him, even as he became a cultural icon. The man who seemed invincible to the world was still fighting the lingering effects of childhood trauma, feelings of worthlessness, and self-doubt. As the world celebrated Chuck Norris as the embodiment of strength, he remained a prisoner of his past, confronting demons that no amount of martial arts or fame could fully vanquish. His resilience in the face of these struggles is what truly makes Chuck Norris a legend. Not just his trophies or his film roles, but his unwavering will to survive and thrive despite the pain that lingered. A life beyond the trophies. Chuck's legacy. Chuck Norris's legacy extends far beyond his accomplishments in karate and Hollywood. While the world celebrates his strength, the true measure of his greatness lies in his ability to overcome his past and continue fighting, not just in the ring, but in life. From the boy beaten by his father to the man who became a world champion, Chuck's journey is one of resilience, transformation, and redemption. His story is a testament to the power of persistence, discipline, and self-belief. Chuck Norris may be an icon of invincibility to the world, but the true power of his legacy lies in his ability to rise above the scars of his past and become something greater than the boy he once was. Through his triumphs and struggles, Chuck Norris has become a symbol of strength, not just in the martial arts world, but in life itself.